show her these features?
Yep, I just pressed the record button now, so we'll be recording from here on out.
Okay, and then we can send the demo to her as well and
Yep,
make
I'll just
sure.
send you like a YouTube link to it or something, and then they can just view it that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we'll get started here. I should have just started sharing my screen. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what version of GP are you guys on currently?
2016 R2.
Okay. I believe that's what I'm running here. Either way, we're fully up to date on that. So whatever version you have will be just fine. What I'm going to do to start off is just create a transaction within GP. So actually, just go into our SOP here. So this, again, will be exactly how you're operating things today. And let me make sure I'm using the correct spots. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so sales batch entry, exactly like you're doing probably. Is this where you're entering your transactions and storing your transactions for post currently?
So yes, for certain ones, we actually have certain transactions that run through just the transaction entry, not the sales transaction entry.
Okay.
Reason for that is they're actually services that are billed in another billing system and import into Great Plains.
Okay. That should not be an issue. We have an integration in both places, so you should be fine on that.
Okay. Great.
Let me making this more complicated than I need to.
Ooh, you're a lot faster than I am. I don't invoice very often. I'm impressed with your speed.
Well, to be honest, I don't know. Somebody's been messing with my GP account, so it looks like we have a currency conversion that I wasn't expecting. So hang on 1 second. I'm going to switch GP accounts to one that will work. But like I always say, it's good to screw something up early on so you guys don't think it's a canned demo, so you actually see the system working.
Hey, I'm just impressed with your invoicing speed. Maybe you should come help us.
No, the idea is to make it so this is easier for all of you guys. That's what we're hoping for.
Where are you located?
We're based in Lansing, Michigan, so center of the state. So let me just... All right, we should be back up and running now. So I got an invoice that is entered here. Again, I'm just going to do a single one to keep it simple in the demo world. But if you guys are entering multiple, simply add them to a batch. If you're doing them on a transaction basis, just through the RM module, not using SOP, you can upload those directly through the process as well. I'll stick with the SOP since that's what we're working with right now. But both sort of modules within accounts receivable and GP are supported.
Okay.
So once we've got our batch selected here, we've got everything that we want in it. As opposed to printing them locally or emailing out a GP, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your Send via Fidesic option, which will add to your SOP window here. And then you'll get a preview of the invoices that you're about to upload. On the delivery method here, this can be set on the customer card within GP. So like I mentioned previously, the customer card maintenance or customer maintenance in a more general sense is still going to be done within the customer card within GP. So we'll pull the email address from the customer card within GP. So as long as you guys maintain it there, that's how we'll get that information up in our system.
Okay.
And We'll also have you able to set the default delivery method on the customer card as well, so you can do a customer by customer basis. If you want us to email them, we can do so. If you don't want us to email them and you just want to upload it to a customer portal, we can do that. You guys can email directly or use whatever process you're currently using, but we do have the option to notify via email. We can also enable reminders from the customer card, so that'll send them a reminder at whatever frequency you guys think works best, but that'll automatically be generated by our system. And it's a nice reminder email because it has a link which will direct them to payment options as well. So it's a pretty effective tool to have.
So none of that would be valuable for managing cloud stuff since we don't invoice out of here for that, right?
Well, the invoices are going to come over. He'll show us that piece of the demo. It may work the same way. That's a good question. Kevin, let me kind of translate that and ask, do we have these same functions available to enable on invoices that we are bringing over for example, if something's already posted, could we add these options to it?
Or you may be able to clarify it more. Or another way we could do it, if we weren't doing it through something that was already posted, could we do it when we post this particular group of invoices? They're done not through the screen that we just did. They're done as I think it's called a sales transaction entry. The other invoice. Do we have the same functionality, but not through the invoicing screen that you just walked us through the other invoicing screen? Yeah, that makes sense.
Through the just plain transaction entry.
Yep. So if we just do a plain old transaction entry as opposed to a batch.
So most of our credit card payments will run through this screen in this type of invoice.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. It functions exactly the same way. Everything, except for the exchange rate that I'm still struggling with. Everything should function in the exact same way that we. What I've just showed you, since most of what I showed you was on the customer card. So the customer card preferences are still going to function in the same way. You still have the option to send that transaction up to us. Are you currently saving these as batches, or are you just posting them instantly when you bring them in?
They're saved as batches, and a batch is pasted. In a perfect world for us, we would save all of the ones that are credit card payments in a batch and post that batch, and everything would be processed as part of that batch. Is that realistic, or am I living in a dream world?
Yeah, no, you can definitely do that. I would recommend sending everything up to our system, mostly because then if somebody decides they want to start paying by credit card, they have all the information they need and they can just start. That requires you guys not knowing exactly who is signed up to process while you're doing your invoicing. So basically, from an AR perspective, you would just build your invoice batch of all invoices, send them up to our portal. Everything that can be processed by credit card is going to be, and then the other customers have the option to sign up.
And how does the system know which ones to run?
That'll be initiated.
That it can be run by a credit card.
Yep. So that'll be whether or not we have that information on file and whether or not they've opted in to automatically pay it. So once we get into the customer portal, I think it'll make more sense to you, and we can hop over there. Let me create
One
this
more
back.
question. This may be a stupid question, and you may have already said the answer to this, but we can do ACH at like bank. We can draft from a bank account as well, right? Like
Yep.
It's not just credit card. Okay.
Yep. We support direct ACH as well. So on the standard receivables batch entry, when you're entering this, when you actually post it on the batch level, that's what's going to initiate the sync with our system.
Cool.
So that's going to automatically initiate the sync. So anything that was contained within there will be uploaded. You'll just have to enter your password. As you see, the other fields come in automatically. So this will be your user account that you have set up within our portal. Each user will have their own account. So we'll submit that, and that will...
So it's that easy. Like really, when we post the batch, we would just enter in our little password and it would sync up.
That's it.
That's awesome.
So what's nice about that is we don't discriminate against different types of transactions on this either. So if you are posting credits, if you're posting returns, if you're posting payments that were processed outside of our system, all that's going to sync up in the exact same fashion. And then basically that means you have a live customer balance available to every customer within the portal. Whether or not they've signed up and whether or not they're currently paying online, we're still going to have a current balance available. So when they finally do sign up, they're going to have access to a full history, be able to see their current balance, and most importantly, issue new payments.
So every time that we have to run that manually, there's no automated sync process that we could set up?
No, because we require that to set up basically we have to set up a secure web connection, so we need something to authenticate it. So currently entering a password is the way to do it. So that'll just pop up when you go to post a batch. So that'll be the only time that you'll have to initiate that sync between the systems.
Yeah, but I think that in a perfect world, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't work in that department, so, but, I mean, we'd like to send invoices from ConnectWise over to Great Plains, and then in the background, it automatically goes to the credit card portal without human intervention. And then if somebody pays something, it updates their balance, and if we give a credit, it updates that balance without someone having to repost every time, right?
Well, so you guys, well, I think in a perfect world that would be great, but what we do now is those invoices sync over to Great Plains, and we have to post that batch. So it would actually be okay if he's saying when we post that batch, we would just enter a little pin and it would process.
It's not any extra work because everything goes into batches now and it's
Okay.
reviewed before it's
So
posted.
it's the same motion that you already do, so it's not an additional.
Correct.
Okay, I'm with you.
Because everything goes into a batch and gets reviewed before it's posted.
Okay.
Okay.
We'd have
Cool. Sounds like you guys figured that one out for me. But yeah, basically we've designed all the interfaces to not have any additional steps of what you're used to doing. It's just, we put a sync process in between what is the normal posting process that you probably are doing anyway. So hopefully that squares that away.
Can I ask another question, Kevin? Just
For
in
sure.
the world of what if? What if something doesn't go through a batch? Like what if it gets posted live? How would we get that into your system? Would that be possible?
Yep. So if something, so
It shouldn't happen very often. I was just wondering if there's a way to accommodate it.
yeah, so basically we're going to be tied in with the post button. So anytime you try to post something, it's going to ask you to do the sync. So let's say you can't remember your password and you hit cancel for some reason. So it doesn't sync up with the system. We have a separate window which we add. Let me pull it up. Receivable status window. So this is everything that should have been uploaded that wasn't uploaded. So if somebody clicks cancel on the password screen, if your internet drops out mid-upload, anything that could happen, is possible. So if the upload fails for any reason, that upload is going to be put into this window. So you'll have a chance to review it and you can re-upload the documents from this window.
Cool. So that makes me think let's say for some reason, and I'm just making up a hypothetical example, but we invoice the customer and we're like, oh man, we know that invoice is wrong and we had to credit it and then we're going to reissue it, but we don't necessarily want the customer ever seeing the first one in the credit. If we know that, we could choose not to put it in that portal.
Yep, you can choose to not upload certain things. In most cases, you don't have to upload everything, I guess, is the moral of the story. We usually find it's better to just upload everything, and then, there's a lot less potential for balance issues that way, but that's up to you guys. If you don't want everything to be visible from the customer, you can certainly manage that on your own.
Cool.
All right, so if we flip gears here a little bit, now we'll flip to the customer's perspective. So if we want to send an alert to that customer, you've set them up to do so within the customer card within GP. They're going to get an email notification. We'll insert a SPF record into your mail server. So basically that allows us to deliver mail directly from your email address. So from your customer's perspective, it's going to come from TechLinks. So it'll be an invoice from your domain. It'll have your logo. This is fully customizable. This is just HTML template that you guys can edit to have everything that you need from the customer's perspective. There's going to be a PDF attachment of that invoice included in the email as well, which makes it easy for them. And if they're already a member, and again, we can change this language to say whatever you guys think works best, but to review this invoice, to make a payment, pay now, nice big button here that says pay now. They'll click that link. That'll take them to a login page. And then from there, they will be able to log into the system. So let me get to the right screen. So they'll be taken to a login page. If they're already signed up, they'll have their login. They can simply log into the system. If they're not signed up, the link within the email is going to take them to a customer registration page, which is basically as simple as we can make it. One, they validate their customer ID, which should be included in the email, as well as the invoice PDF that we sent over to them. They need to enter their email address, create a password, security question and answer, first and last name, and that's it in terms of signing up for the process itself.
Cool.
So again, this portal will be fully branded for you. This will be your own subdomain. It'll be techlinks.fidesic.com. It'll be your logo. You guys can control the colors, make it look like it's a part of your brand. What's nice about it is first level support is handled by us. So if a customer loses their password, can't log in, has a 5-year-old browser that doesn't work anymore, or whatever is the issue, they can contact us directly, and we'll take care of that first level support to make sure that they can access the system and not have any problems issuing payments to you. So I'll log in. I'll try to log in as a customer here.
So, Kevin, sorry, one more question. That on the email, that PDF attachment was the Great Plains invoice?
Yep, that would be generated by GP. Are you guys using a different system to generate PDFs?
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that it was our invoice template.
Yep, it'll be your invoice template. If you use any of the customizations, Forms Builder, Crystal Reports, any of the sort of standard customizations within GP, we'll pick that up automatically. So
Okay.
it'll
So
stay consistent.
when we create an invoice from ConnectWise for managing cloud services and that syncs over, does the invoice from Great Plains look the same? So customer can potentially get an invoice that looks totally different.
We'll have to talk through that. But yeah.
Because and the reason why I ask is because we're talking about billing presentation, and we're updating part of the SKU thing that we're talking about. We're updating to more meaningful descriptions that will be on invoices, but we're also getting with marketing to redevelop our template to match what our quoting is going to look like. And so we could probably replicate that same look, or at least really close in Great Plains, but we'll need to do that, it sounds like.
We can, but there's a lot of limitations on character fields in Great Plains.
It basically is limited to information that you have in GP, yes.
Basically like 35 characters and restrictions of part numbers that are in their description.
So this is limited to 35 characters, or the part number is?
We'll have to
Part
check.
number is definitely limited.
The description is not very long.
Yeah, ConnectWise is limited to 30-something characters anyway for SKUs, but I don't think there's that character limitation for description.
I think there is in GP.
Yeah, it definitely is. We can get that information if we need to.
Okay.
And I mean, that is an issue we would have because the invoices that go to the customers come from ConnectWise. There are the ConnectWise. And Roxy, when she has to pull those, she goes to ConnectWise and pulls those. We would go, if the customer asked us, we would go to ConnectWise. Maybe it's another thing to talk about later.
Yeah, with using this system, would they ever see the Great Plains version of the invoice?
No, we do
Yeah.
always see the Great Plains.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So not necessarily.
Yeah.
So basically, in what I'm overhearing here, it sounds like you guys are going to do a revamp on the invoice form, and that might come from your, what was the name of the front-end system? Sorry, I forgot.
ConnectWise. It's
ConnectWise.
CRM tool.
So basically, you're discussing using ConnectWise to generate the invoice template as opposed to GP?
Could we have the email that goes to the customer, could that attachment invoice come from ConnectWise instead of Great Plains?
Yep, definitely. So essentially what we would need to do is have those invoices saved to a folder or network drive or some location that's accessible from GP. And then we would need the invoice number in the document name. So if you had the invoice number.pdf, we could point our system to that folder, and we'll pick up that PDF as it's sent up to our system.
So our action item would just be see if there's a way when something is sent out in ConnectWise to send it to a file, to a PDF file, and save it at the same time.
I feel like that would probably be an option. I feel like
Yep.
So when you say your system picks it up, it would be when we go to batch, this locally installed software would read that folder and upload those files?
Correct. Yep.
So how would it know what was uploaded last time versus the new ones? Because I can see that folder
It has
would.
a unique document number in Great Plains, so it will
Yep.
only pull that document number one time.
Right, but I can see that folder would grow, and every time that we create a new invoice that we send to a customer, that folder would grow with PDFs. What's the best practice for managing that?
Yep, it depends on how much storage you guys have available and how big the PDFs coming out of ConnectWise are.
Yep.
You could have a scheduled task that would, clear it out every, couple months or whatever, and that would be not a problem with the system, just to keep the file size.
So we would need to manage that. The software doesn't upload then delete. It's not, right?
Correct, yep. It does that for the GP PDF, so we would create the PDF, save it to a temp location, and then delete it as it's uploaded, but that doesn't take place for your shared folders.
Okay.
So let me ask you another question, Kevin. So in our world, the invoices that are invoiced straight from Great Plains start with a number, like a numerical digit.
Yep.
Whereas the ones from ConnectWise start with an alpha character. Is there an ability to write into the program if the document number starts with an alpha character, go pull it from this shared folder, whereas if it starts with a numerical, pull it from Great Plains?
So it wouldn't always. So basically, in some situations you would want the ConnectWise document, and others you would want the GP document. Is that my understanding?
Yes, in certain situations there would not be a ConnectWise document; it would only be in Great Plains.
Okay, yeah, the system will default back to the GP document if there's no attachment available, so that'll just work natively.
Cool.
Okay, any other thoughts?
I have a question. From a pricing standpoint, I'm assuming that for the portal that we're looking at right now, pricing is probably based on, it's not based on the number of users, it's just more of a flat pricing. How does that work?
So the pricing is more flat since you would be working through our merchant partner. So that's basically, that puts our incentives in line with your incentives. We want to get as many people signed up for automatic payments or for paying through our portal as possible. So we do get a small percentage of the merchant fee from people who process through our system.
So the pricing is more so based on payment volume, not users.
So the base pricing is based on user. So that would be your guys' users. That would be the AR staff. In terms of customers, there's no customer driver in price. So from your guys' perspective, the only thing you have to worry about is your accounts receivable users, and that would be the monthly per user fee. So from the customer portal here, again, will be your customer portal is branded specific to them. We can pick where we want to send them initially once they log in. Most people have them send them to payment account, so they know they need to add a payment account. So they can add an ACH account like I have set up. They can add a credit card, instantly validates the credit card and banking information when it's entered. So that greatly reduces your chance of running into any issue with the payment. We'll validate everything instantly through the merchant. They can opt in for auto charge as well, like I mentioned before. And we can customize this page as necessary for you guys, but basically they pick the account they want to pay from. They pick how they want to be auto charged. So we can do the same day of each month. We can do a specific number of days before an invoice is due, and we can do immediately when the invoice hits the system. We can limit these options for whatever works best for your customer base, but basically they'll select here. They'll enroll, and then they will automatically issue payments to you at whatever sort of terms they set up here. You guys will get the payment sent back to you, and they will get a payment receipt emailed to them when we actually process the payment. So they'll also have their unpaid invoices tab, which is a list of all current invoices that they have to review within the system or issue payment against. So they can drill into an individual invoice detail, see all the basic information. This will have line item detail on it if you guys have line item detail on your invoices. They'll have the PDF copy attached to the system, so that'll either be the ConnectWise or the GP invoice, depending on the type of customer. They'll have access to that through the portal, so they can do reprints themselves. They can pay individual invoices, just click the pay prompt and enter basic payment information. They can also pay multiple invoices at a time, so if they want to select a bunch of different invoices that are currently due, go ahead and select their payment account from the quick pay menu, and then they can issue a payment on all of the invoices that they have selected here. Once they've issued a payment, that'll create a pending payment on those invoices within our portal, so they'll be able to see when that payment should be processed fully. We get that information direct from the merchant, so it's very accurate. They'll also have a full invoice history. So this will be everything that has ever been processed through the system. So if they need to look up an invoice from a year ago, they can simply log in, pull it up. This will have credits, debits, returns, payment information, current payment status. All of this is going to be available to the customer with the expressed idea that we basically want to give them as much information as possible, so they're not calling the AR department and asking questions. We want to limit that as much as possible, give them the tools to manage their own account, and we find that a lot of people do so. They have less questions for you guys, which makes your job a bit easier. So this is the basic customer portal. The highlights payment account, where they can enter and manage their accounts, unpaid invoices, where they can issue individual payments, and a history, which will have everything that's been processed through the system. Make sense?
Yes. The next question, which you may already be going here, is what does the feed that we get back look like, or how do the payments post in Great Plains?
Yep, for sure. So the first part of that is, how does it look? You guys will have access to the system. So you'll have what we call the admin portal, where you can log in and review information within the portal itself. So you all have your own individual logins. So under receivables, you'll have a full customer list. So this is all customers with a current balance on them. You can check on current status. So if we want to look up a particular customer, we can see all of the invoices that we've sent this customer. We can see all payments that they've scheduled back to you. We can run a report of the payments that they've scheduled back to you. This is searchable, sortable, date rangeable, whatever you want to do. You can look things up as you need. What's also really nice, which you can do, we have a customer view button on the customer card. So you can see exactly what the customer sees within the portal. So if you're ever curious as to what a particular customer is seeing, simply look up their account, click customer view, and you'll be able to see exactly what they see on the customer portal. Easy to manage. You're also going to have all invoices that have been sent to you. You're going to have all payments that have been scheduled back to you with current status. In a non-demo world, they'll have statuses like pending and paid as opposed to voided, like my poor demo is destined to always have. So you'll be able to see current status. You can click on that payment reference number while it's still pending. You can see the invoice or invoices that are being paid by that original invoice. These will normally be hyperlinks back to the actual invoice document as well. So you'll be able to see what form it came across, when it's pending, when the date of deposit is supposed to be, as well as a full payment history on it, so everything that has taken place. And all of this is available from anywhere that you have a web connection. This is all available through the admin view of the portal.
Can I ask a question about the customer view?
Yeah.
So whenever we sync the invoices over, let's say we sync over today, we sync over 10 invoices. And let's say this particular customer pays 8 invoices via via this portal, and 2 of the invoices they cut a check for. for those two invoices that they cut a check for, clearly, like, the only way we know that that's been paid is, you know, via Great Plains from our lockbox and our cash-based scenario. Would that invoice ever show as paid, the one that they paid via check?
Yep. So when you post the payment batch in the receivables batch, that's going to sync back up with the system as well. So we can see here this payment type is paper check, which basically means it was processed through GP. So
That's really cool.
it'll mark back the invoices as paid. Most importantly, on the customer view, that'll be updated, so they'll have a accurate balance available to them. Whether or not they paid everything through the portal, or the more likely situation is 6 months go by, they pay you by check, and then they finally decide that maybe they should start paying online. So they actually log into the portal. They're going to have, from the moment they log in, they're going to have accurate payment and balance information available to them.
Is there a way to customize that and make it not say paper check? Like, could it just say like customer initiated or something other than they may push ACHs to us or wires to us?
Yep.
So it wouldn't be paper check.
Yeah, definitely, and that's
Okay.
certainly something we can do.
One more question on that. The customer portal. Does your portal have the ability for us to set up alerts? So, like, since all of the invoices are going to be out there by customer, does it send out an alert like your past due or your payments due or anything like that?
Yep.
Statement.
Yep. So there's the default type alerts, which are basically, you've received an invoice, you've scheduled a payment, all the action type things. And then the reminder type emails, those will be configured on the customer card. So you just figure out how often you want to do it. You can do like a 5-day reminder that says you've got invoices that are going to be due in 5 days. You better issue a payment, or you can just wait, or do like past due stuff that says they were due today, you missed your payment. And that's configurable on the customer card in GP, so you guys would manage that.
Cool.
So this is all well and good. We got the information in our portal, but I'm sure what you guys care about is that it comes back across into GP. So this is the one aspect of the system that does require an extra step on your end. The nice part about it is it's going to be much less labor intensive than your current process. So even though you have to actually click a separate button here, it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So you'll go into your receivables batch. You'll select cash receipts. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. This is where you normally have someone sit and key in invoices all day and mark as paid and find against the original transactions and enter the payment information. What we're going to do is add Get Fidesic Receipts to this window here. And this is going to pull across all the payments that have been processed since you last did this report. So, this is, depending on your volume, this could be a daily or a weekly thing that you guys do. Basically, you'll pull across all the payments that were processed through the portal. Again, all you got to do is enter your password, and that's going to initiate a sync across from our system into your GP environment. Unfortunately, since it's a demo world, I can't process any live payment transactions. But as we see,
the batch essentially.
Yep. So it'll add all these transactions to the batch. It will post out against the original invoices, so you'll be able to see what these are posted against. All this
So it automatically applies it.
Yep, automatically applied. You guys don't have to do anything. The process is literally you just create your batch, get Fidesic receipts, enter your password, everything pulls across, posts as you would expect, and then you simply post this batch, and that's it.
Cool.
Make sense?
It does. I have one more question.
For sure.
So back to our two types of invoices, depending on if it begins with an alpha character or a numerical character, that depends in our world on which cash account we send the cash receipts to, like on the actual physical banking side. We have a lockbox, so we can send it all to the lockbox, but then somebody would have to sort through and determine how much of it needs to transfer out of the lockbox into different accounts based on the type of invoice.
Mm-hmm.
is there a way to build logic into that at all of saying, hey, if the payment is run and applied to a numerical invoice, it needs to transfer to this bank account, whereas if it's run against alpha invoice, it needs to transfer to this bank account.
Would it be basically a separate batch would be necessary and a separate checkbook ID here?
Yes.
We do support multiple checkbook IDs in terms of separating them based on, the alphanumeric. That's not something that we currently do. That would definitely be a little bit of dev, but it's not too dissimilar to types of dev we've done in the past. We've used prefixes on invoice numbers to do other sorts of sorts. So hang tight. Let me make a note of that.
One other option for that, to solve that problem, I think, would be if we just had everything go to the lockbox, but we'd have to make sure that we communicated with the bank and said, when you get these lockbox, this deposit on the lockbox from, this payer, then we would need some kind of spreadsheet that just showed it and then make it. So I think that would work as well. It would just take us reaching out to our bank and our lockbox and making sure that we understood what they needed. But I think that would be.
Is it?
Oh yeah, there's so much to work around, but if we could automate it, like it sounds like it's a capability.
Is it separated by customer as well? Are certain customers assigned to things, or are there customers that have?
It's not by customer; it's by invoice. It depends. It depends on what we're invoicing the customer for as to where the cash has to go and which bank.
Cool. Just
ABC could make one payment for $10,000, and we would want $7,000 to go to one bank account and $3,000 to go to another.
Okay.
And you would do that about it.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, customer specific is my first instinct, but if that's not an option, let me talk to my team. I'll talk to my dev team a little bit about that and see what they think about that as an option. I'm sure it's something we can add in. I just don't know how much effort that would be on our end. I don't think it's any GP work, which is always good. That's always the more labor-intensive side of this. So basically, I'll talk to my team. I'll figure out how many hours it would take to do that, and then we would roll that into the setup cost of your guys' quote, so we can look at it that way.
Okay.
So I'll look into that, and I'll send you guys a revised quote with some more info based on what we need. But I think I understand what you're looking for there. So that's about it. Essentially, like we went over at the top, everything in terms of creating your invoices is going to stay the same. You'll just have the ability to upload them directly out of GP. Customer portal exists up on our side. All your customer options that we stepped through, things that are paid outside of our system will be synced back when you post. Things that are paid through our system can be imported directly. It'll close out against the original invoice, can save the amount of data entry that is required on your guys' end. Really quite a bit since there's functionally no data entry required from everything that's processed through our system. That's really all I was hoping to get through today. Is there any other thoughts or questions about what you've seen?
What typically, and I know this is not exact, but if we decided, let's say today, we decided this is the route that we wanted to go, what's the typical time for implementation, and, when would you have a best date to go live?
Yep. So normally we can turn this sort of thing around really quickly. We're actually swamped with implementations right now, which is a good thing, but that's how it goes. So we could probably get you scheduled in probably within the month. So about a month timeline, we could start implementation. There's really not much to do. For accounts receivable, we usually look at about 2 weeks in terms of start to finish from when we start the project to when we're ready to launch. Most of that is just setup work on our end. And honestly, it's getting approved for the merchant account. That sort of can take 2 weeks. It's kind of outside our control. But in terms of setup, there's really not much to do. Usually a 2-week process is what we need, most of which is simply us sending you guys emails saying, does this look good? Is this the template that you want? Does this site look good? And then we just need to install our module in GP, which takes like 20 minutes to do. It's a super fast process, and we'll be set to go. So if you guys sign today, we could start the merchant process today, get that out of the way. We could start the actual setup process in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, worst case, and you guys could be processing through the portal, mid-October.
Tell me more about the customization of the portal. I heard you say that it could all be customized for our stuff. Who does that? Is that something we do, or do you guys do that as part of the setup?
It's all of it, the tools are all available on the front end of the portal, so you guys could do it. Usually it's just easier to have us, do it on your behalf, which is a part of the setup. That's, included cost. There's no like hourly cost to have us customize it. Basically, you send us a logo and sort of a color palette. We'll go through and update it and make it look as close as we can. You guys review it, and then we can change it as necessary. As far as the email templates, we just send you the HTML templates if you wanted to edit them directly, or you can just send us the copy, kind of what you want them to say, and we can edit the templates for you, and then, obviously send you example copies of those emails before they go out to customers.
Can you show us quickly what customizing the portal looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So it really is just color customization and logo customization. So if we go to admin tools, customize the account center. So we're able to upload some basic logos, choose the colors of various things. This is pretty standard color selection tools. Basically, you just edit colors through here, and you'll be able to update everything as you see.
Okay, so it's basically just the layout stays the same. It's just color scheme and logos really all that you change.
Yep.
Okay.
If we wanted to do more, we certainly could do more, but that's not easy front end editable type stuff.
Yeah. No, what we saw, from my opinion, and I'm not the decision maker on this, but it looked like it looked fine, and that as long as our logo and our colors were there.
Yep.
What do you guys think? It was good looking. I mean, it was simple and straightforward, which is what we're looking for.
Yep. Try to keep it as very, very simple as possible. There's and something else. Obviously, I have lots of options because I'm logged in as like an admin type person. But in terms of what each person can see, we can super limit that down to only what everybody needs to see. And you saw that on the customer portal, that it was a much more limited view, and we can do the same sort of thing with your AR users as necessary.
Yeah. So I did have a question about that. So what's the process for creating a new AR user, and what's the controls around that? So do we have an internal admin account that we then would create and remove our own accounts?
Yep, exactly. So as part of implementation, we'll set everybody up for the first time. If you log in as your admin version of the account, you'll have our delegate list here, so you can add new users, pick the role that's associated with them, basic information, email address, name, and then what role you want to assign to them. The roles are also managed from the front end of the system. So if you want to see what an AR manager has permission to do, you click on the role, you can see exactly what they have the ability to view, whether they can view the banking, manage bank accounts on your behalf. All that's controllable as a permission. And this will also allow you to set up notification preferences for this user as well.
All right. And so at no point can we ever see what the customer's credit card number is, right?
Nope, correct.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, and I know you guys are very, sort of the impetus from this is the credit card security. We jump through pretty much every security compliance hoop that has ever been come up with. We're PCI compliant, SAS 70, SSAE Type 16, Trustee audits, you name it. In terms of security, basically we manage all that. And this is the sort of thing that we do for all of our customers. Basically with the credit card and ACH information, we don't have access to it. You guys don't have access to it. The only way it's accessed is through the secure merchant relationship. So that's the only time that information is ever made available, and that's behind, an encrypted, I don't know the exact terminology, but encrypted connection between us and the merchant. So that information is never presented to anyone.
All right, and for all those certifications and audits that you guys go through, what's the process for getting copies of those for our audits?
We can get you, I mean, for, the quote sales part of this process, I'd be happy to send you our most updated ones. Basically, you guys ask and we'll send you a new copy. I think it depends on the standard. Obviously, there's difference. There's gap letters in between the yearly audits of things, but we can certainly provide all that to you.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that it's easy, because we will need to get those to then show our auditors.
Yep, definitely.
All right.
Okay.
That's all my questions.
Any other thoughts or questions?
No, I think that was very helpful.
Good.
I agree.
Good to hear. So what I'll do from here is I'll make you guys an updated quote after I talk to my dev team a little bit about the customization based on the prefix of the invoice number to determine what account it needs to be deposited into. Again, I don't see that as being a huge project. I know we already have some logic around sorting based on invoice ID, and we have some logic based around what account it needs to go into. So it's just sort of meshing those two things together. So I'll send you an updated quote with that information contained within it, and that's about it. You guys can review. We can, ball's in your court. We decide how we want to proceed from there.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.